Hey, on my Travel Wins podcast today, I'm lucky to have Big Sandy. How are you today, Sandy?
I'm great. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great, buddy. I appreciate the time. I know you've got a big tour coming up. I'm really excited to get a hold of you before the tour.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're on coming week we'll be heading back to Europe. So yeah, it's kind of this is actually a rare thing to be home for a week. That's unheard of.
You're like, what do? That's when you get all your stuff done, right?
Yeah, it's funny how many things can come up to take care of when you're home. You think you got everything under control, just little things, family things, or just things around the house. That traveling can be, there are problems that come along with that. But it's when I'm at home when I get in trouble.
Yeah, because when you're on the road, nothing else matters. You just got to you're doing your thing.
You're like ultra focused on one thing. Yeah, and there's so many different variables at home.
I'm the same way. I'm the exact same way. I come home and I'm like, oh man, I didn't do that. I got to get that done. Oh, I can do that. I can do it. When I'm on the road working, it's like, okay, I'm going to wake up, go do my appointment, eat food, do my next appointment.
Well, I think that's it, because when I'm out, it's everything is. I go by a schedule. At home, it's not always that way, or I try to make a schedule, and the schedules just don't go as planned. As evidenced by this phone call coming in late, right?
No, it's all good. It's I give my listeners a little bit of background. You were inducted into the Rockabilly Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You've been playing rockabilly music since 88, 89?
Well, with this band, I started earlier in the 80s with a couple of different rockabilly bands. But yeah, it was through the 80s, yeah.
My first rockabilly mixtape was made in, I want to say 82 or 83.
Okay, yeah. That's when a lot of people started to get into it, influenced by the Stray Cats, and there was just like a resurgence of interest towards those older sounds.
There was an Orange County, because I grew up in Irvine.
Okay.
And there was an Orange County record label that made a kind of a mix. And this is more of a question for you, I guess. And it had like the Blue Cats on it, the Polecats. And it had like 2 or 3 songs from a couple of different groups. And I can't find it. And my buddy had the album, and I recorded it, put it on a cassette tape, and then that's what I listened to in my car as I was driving around.
Okay, I wonder which.
I can't remember it.
Was it like a Billy Volume 1? Was it?
It was something like that. Yeah, it was like some compilation.
Or was it? Okay, so but that was in the 80s, huh?
It was 82, 83.
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure what. Maybe I don't have that.
I know, it's old.
Although I probably do have it, because I've been collecting since I was 9, records or whatever the musical format of the day was,
Exactly. I saw my dad when my dad moved out. He into a smaller place. He gave me his 8-track collection, so I have that now.
Oh, I have an 8-track player set up in my. I have a little office / kind of little personal studio in the behind my house, and I've got my 8-track player back there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he gave me his old movie projector and his 8-track. But all the stuff I wasn't allowed to touch when I was a kid, he now gives me freely.
Yeah,
it's interesting. So, you've been traveling as a musician 30 plus years.
Yeah. Yes. I think I think it was like 1990 when we all quit our jobs and decided to go full time with music, and that's when we really started branching out and traveling here in the States, and then got the call pretty quick to go over to Europe, and it's been a constant thing since then. So 88 band started, we did small tours, but in 90 that's when we really dove into it.
So 29 years, my bad.
Yeah. No, it's around there, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. How has traveling changed, i.e. with that technology from, when you started to now?
Well, just I remember, like going through Europe, I remember the directions would be, go to this city and then go to this city, go to this city. There was no specifics, you know.
Yeah.
I just had like a piece of paper with, you know, Hamburg, and then make a left at Hamburg or something, you know. And now with, you know, the GPS and all the tools that we have at our disposal, it's really difficult to look back and think how we got by, you know. But we did, you know. It might have taken a little longer, but it sort of added to the sense of adventure of it all, you know.
I was going to say that I kind of felt that way too, to a certain extent. Because, you know, now, I mean, you can look up your hotels, you can look up your flights, you can look up, you know, I remember having to go to the airport and showing up and going, oh my God, my flight's 2.5 hours late.
Yeah. There was no way to know before.
Yeah. You know, and so there's conveniences, and then, but like you said, that kind of adventure deal.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, the technology has helped in so many ways.
Yeah.
Just the time savers, and you just can't even wrap your brain around how you got by before. But then you go to check into a hotel, and it used to be so easy. They would turn around. There was like, you know, the boxes that had all the shelves with the keys in it. They say, okay, here's your key. Boom, you're in. Now they have to look on the computer like, well, I don't know. Click. I don't know. Well, I'm not seeing your reservation. Click. And then they'll, you know, I don't know how many times we've been giving a key to a room that somebody's already in, or before, if the key was there on the wall, then you knew somebody was in there, you know. So there's the, you know, the pluses and minuses of the whole technology situation. When
you're traveling, and I have no idea how this works. Are you the one setting everything up, or is there someone else in the band, or is there a different management company that handles your travel arrangements?
Here in the States, we have our agents that handle that.
Okay.
Well, with the booking and the routing and all that, we have an agency that does that. In Europe, we're kind of more on our own. We kind of piece together tours through different promoters, and just the other day, I was you know, hanging out with my guitar player Ashley, and he was on his phone. He was kind of half listening to me, and he goes, I go, what are you doing? He goes, oh, well, I'm booking all the rooms right now for Europe. You know, we're like, so he's handling most of that.
Okay.
Because a lot of the situations, you know, we'll be set up with rooms for the night we're playing, but you know, on a travel day, he has to work out the logistics of everything else. But it's easier to handle now. You can do it all on your phone, you know.
Yeah. Hey, 'cause I would imagine, like, even 30 years ago, if you're doing your Europe leg, I don't even would you call it a travel agency, or?
Yeah, we'd have to work through a travel agent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's the expense of that, and
sure.
Yeah, there were so many. Oh, and you know, if you have to find yourself on your, oh, wait a minute, what am I thinking? We didn't even have cell phones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, just trying to find a payphone, and it wasn't like we'll just talk about Europe specifically. You know, I mean, you had to make sure you had the right coins, the right currency for each country, and
that's before it was on the
euro.
Euro, yeah. Yeah. So I mean, that just to give my listeners an idea, you're in the next 3 or 4 months. I show you being in 9 different countries, including the U.S., and then playing in 10 different states.
Yeah, and that's all that that's listed. Yeah, there. I know there. Because I update our website, and I think that there were some a few things that were pending, and that I don't think I've gotten information for yet. But that's at least that. Yeah,
that's a pretty busy summer.
It is a busy summer, yeah, and the dates are still rolling in, and sometimes there are situations where you can't announce certain shows until a certain time, because other other bookings that are kind of in the same region. But yeah, the way you just listed, that kind of gives an idea. Well, I was curious about too, like how busy we've been lately. So last night I counted the dates, like how. Because people ask all the time, like, how much do you guys travel? How many days are you away from home? So it was from today to a year ago, it was like what was it, 243 days away?
Oh, you win.
Yeah. So it's I don't know what the percentage of the year that is, but
a lot.
Yeah, that's
most.
Well, I don't know what is it, like 2/3 of the year or something. We're gone.
Yeah. Yeah, the person that had the most that I knew of that talked to me was 221, 222 days.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He wasn't a musician. That was just his job.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's. I mean.
Well, the funny. I'm sorry to cut you off there. But, well, the funny thing is, like, we've been doing it for almost 30 years, the traveling, and a couple of years ago, we had a talk within the band, like, well, guys, we're not as young as we used to be. Maybe we'll slow the pace down a little bit, and try to travel a little more wisely. We'll take the better offers so we can be at home a little bit more. And my guitar player wanted to be with his family, and I'm on my own myself, so I'm fine being away. But I have to consider their responsibilities. So anyway, we had this talk, and now I find myself being busier than we were like during kind of our heyday in the '90s. So it's funny how that's working out.
You're busier even though you tried slowing down. That's awesome.
Yeah.
For me, I'm on the road about 120 to 130.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot, man.
And I thought it was a lot until I started talking to people like you and some of these others that I talked to on my show, and I'm like, oh, you're over 7 months on the road. You're 8 months on the road.
Well, and maybe you can relate to this. People will look at, oh, well, then that means you're home this many days. It might seem like a lot on paper, but it can often be broken up in a way where it doesn't feel like you're home much at all, before you know it, it's time to go again.
Well, or you're planning for the next trip.
Yes, when you're home, you're always looking for, you're doing work towards that, what's coming up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because for me, like, I know I'm going to be gone next week. So this week I have to get this done, I have to get that done. So I'm planning for my trip, even though I'm not even on my trip.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're leaving for longer and further. So do you give Kevin a break because he's got the stand-up bass?
Do we give him a break?
Yeah, come on, he's got the biggest thing.
Yeah, well, like for this upcoming trip, we're heading over to Europe. Well, he'll be set up with a bass there, so he won't have to bring that over, and we'll have a back line at each place ready for us.
Never mind then, forget him then.
No.
I was feeling sorry for him because he's going to have to carry the big stand-up.
But there are the challenges that presents. He doesn't always know like how whatever instrument he's going to get stuck with. Is it going to be a good one? Is it the action on the strings going to be too high? What kind of pickup is it going to have? So I think that presents its own challenges for him.
Sure. Well, I work in the Western apparel industry, rodeos and all that, and I talk to the guys that they actually rodeo from Hawaii. They'll come over here.
Okay.
They won't bring their horses, so they have to rent horses.
That would be weird. That would be weird.
Yeah, so all of a sudden you're doing an event that's a timed event on somebody else's horse.
I can't imagine that. Wow, yeah.
So kind of like borrowing a bass.
Yeah, yeah, riding a different sort of horse there. Yeah.
Exactly. What do you? I was going to ask you because, we this call was delayed because you had to spend time with your family. How do you balance, and like Ashley and how does everybody balance family and relationships being gone so much?
Well, because I think for Ashley, he's the only one who's actually married and has a daughter. He has more considerations than the rest of us, and it just so happens that he's the one who works the closest with the booking agents. So he kind of, I don't know, maybe steer it his way a little bit more to be home during around birthdays or anniversaries.
I hear you.
But for me, I tell him also, but mainly with our booking agent, I tell them, you don't have to ask me. Just I'll take whatever comes in. So I don't really worry too much about balancing it out. It falls together. My family's so supportive, and they're just so proud. And we'll make the time during the short period, the little spells that I am home. We'll make time for each other. But I just kind of, I guess sort of let the chips fall where they may.
I hear you. Yeah, I was going to ask you. You've had such a great career being with the Flyrite Boys. You've done some solo work. you toured around with Reverend Horton.
Oh yeah, a lot. Yeah.
And then now you're hosting some gigs. So are you where you wanted to be, or is it just kind of all worked out how it's worked out?
I love where I'm at. Although there was no sort of like master plan. It just sort of, I just kind of went along with it along the way. And it's only within the last like year and a half or so, maybe a couple of years that I've started to think like I better start be a little more serious about this. Some wonderful things have happened along the way. It's been really great.
Sure.
Some cool things have happened, but not by design. And now I'm starting to actually kind of think about it a little bit more and plan ahead. And it's funny, you start out doing it as a kid, really, because I go back to this band, although it started 31 years ago. It was an extension of a couple of earlier bands going back to my teenage years, and I still had that mindset of just we're just out having fun, and and then I see things going around me, and you start to lose a friend or two, and so I started to think, I better, maybe I just better put a little more thought into what the plans are, So that's sort of, I'm kind of coming to that realization now, and hopefully I'm taking steps to kind of steer it in the way that I want it to go. But I never thought that this is not where I thought I would be. I had no idea, or I just kind of was living from day to day,
Yeah.
Not good. I wouldn't suggest that, but that's just how it played out for me.
Well, you've really seen the resurgence of. I was going to say you've really seen, in 30 years you've seen the Stray Cats come in and be Billboard chart topping down, and then you've seen waves and resurgence. I mean, even with Swingers when it came out in the 90s with swing music, and
there's been several different waves and we've been able to ride some of those waves to a certain degree. But we've kind of just tried to maintain our own thing. Well, it's probably not quite as it's not exactly how I'm explaining it. Of course, we have thought things out along the way. But and if we did it all, I guess it was just to maintain our own thing, not to be dependent on any other, like a rockabilly resurgence or a revival of swing music, we just kind of wanted to have our own solid little thing. So no matter where the business was, rising and falling, that we could maintain a long-term thing.
Yeah. When you were a solo, and when you were touring with Reverend Horton, is it easier for you not being the front man and having to control everything and just kind of showing up and singing and doing your bit?
I felt I was really blessed to get all those dates to be offered all that work from him. Yeah. And on one hand, it is easier because I don't have the responsibility when I'm out with another group. I get to ride along with them on their big rock tour bus, and I don't even have to tune my guitar, or it gets handed to me as I'm stepping up on stage, and they have their crew working for them and working for me when I'm with them. So it is easier, but I find for some reason I'm just used to traveling the way we do. The way he travels is like after the show, everything gets packed up, and then you get on the bus, and you'll be up for a little bit, a couple of drinks, laughs with the guys, and then you crawl into your bunk and you wake up and you're in the next city.
Yeah.
And not only you're at the next city, you're like usually at the venue. So you're at the venue from like 1 p.m. until like 2 a.m. So like all day. And to me, just like that kind of wears on your mind. I like the way we travel. We'll play a gig, and we'll get back to our rooms, and then the next day we'll get in our van and drive to the next town. To me, I don't get the same kind of sleep, riding in the bus overnight. It's just kind of something funny about, passing out of one city or waking up like, oh, we're, 400 miles away. It's kind of a funny thing.
And my daughter interned for a band and did that for a summer when she was in college. And it was the same way. It was like, go to sleep in Miami, wake up in Charlotte, South Carolina, and the next day wake up in North Carolina, and then 2 days later you're in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, and then you're over in Philly. And then she said it was weird.
there are other advantages of that, but I've been used to, these decades of doing it our way, and so that was different. It was fun, but it kind of was wearing on me a little bit more for some reason, even though it was an easier gig,
Yeah, exactly. You get used to what you get used to.
Yeah. And also, when when you're riding in a tour bus, like wherever you're kind of anchored down wherever it stops. Once it stops, that's where you're at. And with the way we travel, we'll make all sorts of stops along the way, see the roadside attractions, hit all the thrift stores and record stores, and you're hanging out with your pals. That's just what I'm used to, and that's what I love.
See, I started doing that. I was traveling a lot and just bouncing, literally I was kind of doing like the Reverend Horton Heat tour, where I would just get in, get out, and come back home.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I was like, I'd literally have friends go, hey, so did you go see this, or did you go see that, or I'm like, oh no, I was there for work. I didn't have time.
Yeah.
And so now I book in time, so I'll go see museums, or I'll go see Mount Rushmore, or I'll go see, Mount Hood, or I'll go see some of the Louisville Bat Company, and when I'm traveling around.
It's wonderful to be able to do that, and oh boy, I've had a chance to see things and take in experiences that I would maybe would not have been able to do otherwise if it hadn't been for the job that I have.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you, out of all the places you've been to, what's your favorite place to visit? Not for work necessarily, but just you like the scenery, you like the people, whatever.
Well, no, that's tough because it changes all the time, and it's changed over the years, and
sure.
You'll have a favorite, and then you say, no, this is my new favorite. We have quite a few dates in Spain on this upcoming trip, and I love being there. There's some beautiful parts of the country, some wonderful people that we've met over the years, great food. So when we go down into the Basque region, oh boy, they'll take you in, and the food is incredible.
That's pretty right.
So maybe all throughout Spain, that is one of my favorites. But I also like going to Ireland a lot. I've had some beautiful experiences there, and just the history, and just so like the best places are places where you can just feel that they want you to have the best time of your life. You want here, try this drink. No, you got here. We made this for you. I
found people in the South to be like that. Like
Louisiana. It is that way in the South. It is, absolutely.
Oh my God! I went to a restaurant. They're like, I thought I was like their nephew. They're like, oh no, we'll set you up. Bring it in. What do you want? Hold on. We'll let you try a little bit everything on the menu. Like,
that's so beautiful. That's beautiful.
I don't eat that much.
Yeah. But having said that, Spain, Ireland, or wherever else, it changes from year to year. Overall, I love traveling in this country here in the U.S. I love what we have here, and it just feels right. And again, it's just this is really what I know here. So it's fun going to the other places, but I like being here at home.
You got to see so much.
Yeah. And there's always new things to explore,
I got a trick question. You're the first musician I've had to ask this. I started asking all my guests, what do you listen to when you travel?
Well, I collect records. So I on any given trip, I listen to whatever I found digging around for records on the previous trip. So
I gotcha.
So it really varies, but it's all older stuff. But it's not old though. It doesn't feel old. But it can vary from honky tonk music to jazz, western swing, rhythm and blues, or early rock and roll. But it's made up of whatever I found on the previous trip. I'll come home and I'll digitize all the whatever vinyl I found, and that's what the guys are forced to listen to on the next trip.
Is it a democracy, or is it whatever you want to play?
Well, I think whoever's driving gets to pick what would play. But now over the years, it makes me a little bit sad. It's like everybody kind of more and more people, each guy kind of retreats into their own world. They got their little headphones on, listen to their own thing. I like when it was a shared experience. Before everybody would retreat into their phone.
Oh, we my wife and I talk about that quite often. Even like we just go out to eat, and when I travel for work, I go out to dinner by myself, and then you just see a family there with 4 people and 4 different phones out.
It's depressing. Yeah, I've been right in there doing that same sort of thing. But when you stand back and witness it, it's like, oh, that's depressing.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, I'm as guilty as anybody sometimes. But at the same time, there's times when I'll drive. My territory is California and Hawaii, so but when I have to drive, to Northern California, there's times when I just turn the phone off, and I'll just turn off the radio and everything and just drive.
Yeah, just to be
spend a couple hours with the wind.
I know what you mean. That can be a therapeutic,
Yeah, you kind of unplug and forget about politics, and you forget about traffic, and you forget about the bills and everything else.
I suggest that to everybody myself.
Exactly. It's nice to unplug once in a while.
Yeah.
So, what exactly do you have coming up, and what's the best way for people to reach out and see what's going on with you?
Well, the website is bigsandy.net. I was never able to get that .com years ago, and some guy was sitting on that and not using it, and then trying to charge some crazy price for it later over the years. But anyway, bigsandy.net. Although I think lately people just kind of follow us on social media. My Instagram page is Mr. Big Sandy, Mr. Big Sandy. We have the Big Sandy and his Flyrite Boys Facebook page.
Yeah.
I'm not quite as active on Twitter. I'm just kind of starting to get back into that, but I find we get more traffic on the Facebook and Instagram pages than the website anymore.
Really? I think that's just the way life's changing.
Yeah.
It's just, cause I only had my Instagram page and my social media, and then I had people say I need to have a website for the podcast.
Yeah.
So I could visualize the episodes.
Yeah. I need to. Well, I guess that's, big. A lot of it is my fault. If you don't update it constantly and have a, fresh new look from time to time, people stop checking in on it,
Well, especially with your tour dates, I think that, as long as your fans can find your tour dates, and they're updated, that's what's key.
Yeah. So that's all there. Well, most of
it. What you could put up.
Yeah.
So, how often are you? I'm trying to think the right way to say it. Your schedule's out to about September. Is that pretty typical? Is it booking things for 2, 3, 4 months, and then, or is it just something in 2 weeks you'll update it?
There's more than that isn't posted yet, so it goes a little farther than that. So we're kind of working on the end of the year right now, just kind of edging into December.
Okay.
There's December dates being talked about that I've overheard.
I guess that was my question: is how far out are you trying to book things?
Yeah. Well, there are things in the book for next year, so things it varies. Sometimes there are dates it's like a festival will come in like a year ahead of time, and then you kind of use that as an anchor date to build around.
Like Diva or.
Yeah, things. Well, that I already know. I don't know if we're playing, but I know I'll be there. Working there, emceeing and doing other things there.
Right.
And we have a couple of other festivals that I know that I'm doing every year. Like like doing that. I'll be on that Baja Bop cruise. I'm gonna be playing really, but I'll be emceeing. I'll be the singing MC on that.
So almost kind of like what you did at the Barnyard.
I'm sorry. No, yes. Yeah, although I'll be doing that, but also I'll be this will be a new thing I'm going to try. I'm not only going to introduce the bands in words, but I'm going to have a song that I'm going to sing acoustically on my own before each band that a song about each act. I'm going to introduce them in song, which
Intro.
might not work, but I'm going to try that.
That's cool.
Just a little ditty, to introduce the band.
Yeah. That's cool. A little musical intro for
yeah.
That's neat. Who's left for you that you'd love to play with that you haven't yet?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
What was one group or singer or musician that you'd like to play with that you haven't yet?
Oh, wow. Well, most of them are gone now. The ones that I'll tell you what. It'd be fun to work with somebody like one of the Willie Nelson.
Okay.
That's one, and that's all.
I saw him. He better hurry up. He's in his late 80s.
Yeah.
He just performed over here in Redondo Beach like 3 weeks ago at a festival.
Yeah, I wasn't able to go out there. Yeah. There's most of them would be any of the original acts that I've been influenced by, the few that are still around. And the thing is, I've been really been so fortunate, that I have been able to work with so many of my heroes over the years. Either with my band backing them up, or even just to be the MC, bring them on stage and hang out with them backstage and hear their stories, and so that's been a beautiful thing.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to think of who. Yeah, well, I don't work with nobody. No.
I'd figure I'd ask because you've been in the business for so long and been so acclaimed and done so many great things. I just wonder if there's anybody that you just went, God, I really wish I could have worked with him or did work, in the future.
Yeah, I'm sure that as soon as we end this, of course it's going to come to mind,
I call that DMI, delayed mail intelligence.
Okay, there you go.
As soon as I do the same thing, I'll be on the phone and be, that's all good though. Hey, so I appreciate the time, and I'll let you get back to what you got to get done before
thank you, and thank you for reaching out to me. And I didn't want to stumble into this without knowing what's going on. So I've been enjoying catching up with your podcast there. So thank you for turning me on to something new.
Absolutely. So hey, have a good time on your trip, and I'll definitely see you over the summer when you come back in the L.A. Orange County area. Thank you so much, my friend. And next time you got to come up and say, hey. Well, I did. On the Baja Bop I did, but that was in October. Oh, you did? Okay, but I wouldn't have. Okay. Well, I'm sure I had a drink or two by that point. But. Well, yeah, when the show starts at midnight. Oh, yeah, they had that super late. It was later than that, wasn't it? Or? That's when they started, yeah. Yeah. And all of a sudden, my wife's like, she missed all the last act. She's like, I'm going to bed. I'm like, yeah. I was there for the music. Little Straight Jackets. They had a lot of good groups. Yeah. So, yeah, I would definitely say hi to you next time I run into you. And if you have another Barnyard Boogie, I'll definitely be there. And you'll have your Western duds on. Well, I 15 pair of cowboy boots sitting on my wall here. Hook me up, man. Hey, let me know. Okay, I will. When you get back. Okay, we'll talk. Yeah, you got it. All right, man. Well, thanks a million. Thank you, and I'll see you soon, bud. Okay. Bye.